Say this wrong, and you're done. 5 traffic stop traps. Explained. Chris assumed the traffic stop would be quick. A quiet street. Barely any cars. A slow roll through an intersection that didn't feel risky or reckless. Nothing worth worrying about. The lights came on anyway. The officer approached, calm and professional, and asked a simple question. Chris answered the way most people do, politely, casually, trying to sound cooperative. That answer changed everything. The officer's tone shifted. The question stretched. Minutes passed. What began as a routine stop slowly turned into something far more serious. Chris found himself standing outside his car, watching a minor traffic issue grow into a situation he never expected. This is how traffic stops actually go wrong. Not because of what happens before the lights turn on, but because of what gets said after. Trap number 1. Answering. Do you know why I stopped you? It sounds harmless, almost friendly. Do you know why I stopped you? By the time that question is asked, the stop already has a legal reason. Speed, lane position, equipment, an observed violation, something justified activating those lights. The question isn't about information. It's about confirmation. When a driver guesses, explains, or apologizes, they often supply the missing piece themselves. Statements like, I might have been speeding, or I probably rolled through it, feel cooperative. Legally, they function as admissions. Courts treat voluntary roadside statements as evidence. Once a driver provides an explanation, the officer no longer needs to rely on instruments, measurements, or footage. The driver's own words fill the gap. This question also shifts control. The stop stops being about what the officer observed and becomes about what the driver admits. That shift invites follow-up questions, clarifications, expansion. A short stop becomes a longer detention built entirely on conversation. Officers are trained to ask open-ended questions early. Silence at this stage has strategic value. Providing license, registration, and insurance satisfies legal obligations. Commentary about driving behavior does not. The Supreme Court addressed this in Berkmer v. McCarty, confirming that statements made during traffic stops are admissible when given voluntarily, even without formal arrest. Once spoken, words don't disappear. They're recorded, stored, written into reports. A controlled response keeps the stop anchored to its original justification. An uncontrolled answer quietly changes its direction. Trap number 2. Explaining yourself without being asked. Many drivers believe filling silence helps. They think explanation equals cooperation. In traffic stops, unsolicited explanations usually do the opposite. Once a lawful stop begins, the officer controls its scope. When a driver volunteers details, where they're coming from, why they were rushing, how traffic felt, the encounter expands. Each explanation introduces new facts: fatigue, distraction, urgency, stress. Those details invite more questions. Courts allow officers to explore volunteered information. Even innocent explanations can justify prolonging the stop. Silence is uncomfortable. Officers know this. Pauses often cause drivers to keep talking, correcting themselves, clarifying, rephrasing. Every sentence increases risk. Traffic stops are meant to be temporary and purpose-driven. Expanding that purpose requires reasonable suspicion. Volunteered explanations help create it. Professional drivers understand this dynamic. They comply with document requests and respond only to direct, lawful questions, briefly. Less speech keeps the stop focused. More speech widens the field. And once the scope expands, pulling it back becomes difficult. Trap number 3. Guessing instead of staying silent. Guessing feels safe in the moment. Maybe a little. I think so. I could have. But a guess is still a statement. And statements become evidence. Traffic stops are recorded. Audio and video capture words exactly as spoken, without intention or explanation attached. A guess removes uncertainty for the officer and increases exposure for the driver. Even when the estimate is wrong, the phrasing frames it as an admission. The Fifth Amendment protects against compelled self-incrimination, but voluntary statements shape outcomes long before courtrooms ever appear. In Miranda versus Arizona, The Supreme Court explained how pressure during questioning leads people to define their own cases. While traffic stops differ from custodial interrogation, the principle remains: words carry power. Guessing invites follow-ups. Clarification leads to more questions. Time stretches. Scope widens. Silence doesn't escalate. It doesn't obstruct. It preserves position. If a question requires speculation, restraint protects far more than accuracy ever could. Trap number 4, giving consent without realizing consent changes everything. Without it, officers generally need probable cause, a warrant, or a legal exception to search a vehicle. With consent, those barriers disappear. Most drivers don't give consent deliberately. They give it casually. Sure, I guess. A nod, stepping aside, unlocking a door. Courts recognize all of these as permission. Consent doesn't require paperwork. It doesn't require full awareness of rights. In Schneckloth versus Bustamante, the Supreme Court ruled that officers don't need to inform drivers they can refuse. Once consent is given, reversing it becomes difficult. The scope of the search expands to what a reasonable person would understand as included. Pressure during traffic stops often feels subtle. Uniforms, lights, authority, compliance feels expected. Ironically, consent often lengthens stops and increases exposure. Clear boundaries protect drivers. Declining consent preserves existing legal safeguards. Silence or calm refusal keeps the stop within its original limits. One phrase spoken casually can authorize a search with lasting consequences. Trap number 5. Talking after the stop is already over. This is where many drivers make their final mistake. The ticket is written. Documents are returned. You're free to go. Then the officer pauses. That pause matters. Legally, the stop has ended. Any continued interaction now relies on consent or new legal grounds. In Rodriguez versus United States, the Supreme Court made this clear. Extending a completed traffic stop without justification violates the Fourth Amendment. But many drivers keep talking, out of politeness, out of relief. Questions get answered. Conversation resumes. The encounter quietly shifts from detention to consensual interaction. That shift removes time limits. Words spoken after the stop carry the same legal weight as those spoken during it. Admissions, explanations, contradictions, all usable. Experienced officers understand this moment well. Casual tone lowers defenses. Friendly questions invite engagement. Control depends on behavior, not argument. Leaving means leaving. Remaining present keeps the door open. OUTRO traffic stops feel routine until one sentence changes everything. Words shape outcomes. Officers follow procedures. Courts rely on records. Knowing where legal obligations end and voluntary conversation begins changes everything. Silence, timing, clarity. If this breakdown helped you see traffic stops differently, stay with us. This channel focuses on the real mechanics behind everyday legal encounters, explained clearly without hype. Because understanding the rules changes how every stop ends.